Welcome to the Real Estate Show on KMED this weekend. Pete Belcaster and Joe Brett, the Real Estate Guys, with you. And here we are, almost a Thanksgiving week anyway. Next weekend, hope you're going to have some good plans for you and be safe, whatever you decide to do, right, for the Thanksgiving holiday.
It could be a situation where, beside the Civil War game and a quick trip to Corvallis and back, I may not leave the Aspen complex for about 5 days there at Thanksgiving.
It's fun not to leave.
I'm good with
just hang out at your house all the time.
Burn a little fire and watch a little football. And
I just want to give you a little update, though, here on the Real Estate Show. Next week, Guy Giles will be along. It'll be mortgage interest rates. We'll update you on what's going on with that. I just closed had a signing yesterday, and the loan that my client got, 4%. I mean, that was a pretty good interest rate, I thought.
Guy and I are going to take even a look at my property and mortgage situation.
Yeah.
Might be time to act on that.
Laurel Adams will be along from All Cities Property Management the weekend of December 6th and 7th. And then Frank's going to be along the following week for Tycors, and their final show with us will be coming along.
Their what?
Final show with us on December 13th and 14th. Anyway, here we are today.
It's going to be a big hole to fill.
Thanks for being with us, everyone, as our show today. Barbara Brown, is the principal broker at REMAX Ideal Brokers. And, well, our good friend Larry Frank, was in here for many years with us on the shows along with
Barbara's
Bob
the new Larry.
And Barbara's the new Larry. I was just going to say that and out of that kind of thing. So welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Now, first of all, you've been around. You've been a broker a long time. So tell people, first of all, when we hear Barbara Brown and broker, you've been a long time. You've been a broker.
Yes, I started in 1989.
Yeah.
So 25 years.
Yeah. And where did you start at doing this?
I started with Century 21 in Central Point, Oregon.
In Central Point.
And I worked there for a few years and decided I wanted to be in Medford, moved around to a couple different companies. And then my original broker came to me in, I think it was 1996, and said, I'm thinking of retiring, and I'd like to see you buy my business. So I thought about it for a while, and I thought, I think that seems like a good plan. I wish I'd thought that through further, but anyway,
didn't quite think that through.
Especially in hindsight.
Yeah.
So moved over there back. He had since moved to Medford, and so I moved back to my original office and took over in '98. And so I owned my own Century 21 for 10 years until the recession forced me to close. But anyway, then I was back to being an agent for the last 6 years, and unfortunately, Larry had to retire from REMAX, and this opportunity became available, and I jumped at it because I'd missed being a principal broker.
You missed being the principal broker.
I did.
That was the key there.
Haven't you covered all the bases?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. She missed something there. Missed something in the way. I want to know what Bob Gervais said to you to get you to come over and be part of this group, because he's a sweet talker. I'm just curious
because I'm one of just 70 some in the office.
Actually, I went to Larry's retirement party with actually no thought in mind about the job. Really, no. I've known Larry for years through association with the board, and just knew him to be a great guy. Plus, he worked for the company that I was currently working for, Windermere. And he was well respected there. And so I went to his retirement party, and said hi to Bob. And I asked him, I go, who's going to take Larry's place? And he goes, well, we're looking. And I go, I don't know where this came from, just came out of my mouth. I go, well, what about me?
Wow.
And we met, and here I am.
And the rest is history.
Yeah. So
well, that was really easy. That was yeah, and how long? And you've been there now, what?
Whopping 2.5 months.
2.5 months. Mm-hmm. And so tell me what that's been like for you, because I know you.
Well, first thing, there's 65 agents plus, and I think I just maybe saw Joe for the first time, and a lot. So getting to know everyone, but I'm learning. I pretty much know everybody now, and we have a paperless system there, paperwork wise, which I've had to learn, and but overall, it's been a good experience. Great people work there.
Now, you and what I really like about real estate brokers, and they don't get enough credit for, is all the things they do outside of just being a residential broker or a commercial broker. I mean, the time that Bob gives in his Southern Oregon's Got Talent, and so many agents. Terry Rasmussen, in what he does, in the Heritage. anyway, but you've also you've been like RVAR president. Tell me some of those things. I mean, I think that's always important that people realize that it's just not brokering stuff. It's just not selling stuff, but it's really giving back into your world.
Well, I started pretty early in my career giving back. I think I was first asked to be on the board in 1992, and they really haven't gotten rid of me since. I have served as president of Rogue Valley Association of Realtors twice. And I've been the Southern Oregon Multiple Listing president once, and I'm on the Oregon Association of Realtors board.
Wow.
And I enjoy that aspect of being involved and being a part of leadership in my association. I also believe in giving back in the community. I was a Seroptimist for 10 years and did a lot of good projects there. And I'm currently on the On Track Board of Directors.
Well, look at that. I mean, that's what's really cool. Frank, I know, does the same thing. I mean, you're on a lot of stuff as well, right? I mean, it's, I don't think, it's really cool to hear that people do those things.
Many of the people that we have the privilege to meet and to talk with on this program have far beyond the hard work that they do and the demands of taking care of their clients and their business, have time and place in their hearts to help our community.
Yeah, that's really cool. Very good. I like that a lot.
And it's really important work, Barbara. The associations do at the local, state, and national level. My goodness, that's important work for not only our industry, but for our clients and our consumers in the end to help shape legislation and to be the watchdogs and the spokespersons for our industry.
Well,
it's such a crucial industry and part of our economic engine.
We had Colin Mullane, who's the now president of the Oregon Association of Realtors here with us a few weeks ago. And so our listeners have actually heard some of these things, and some of the issues that are out there in the statewide stuff. Well, anyway, well, Barbara, what about the market? I mean, tell us what you're seeing in the real estate market right now. Here it's November, the end of November here before Thanksgiving. Tell us what you're seeing from your perspective as the principal broker there at REMAX. What are you seeing? What's going on in your opinion?
Well, I think I feel for the first time in many, many years that we're kind of heading towards more of a normal market. I mean, it feels like, the distressed sales are definitely the minority now of our market. We're, seeing a lot more sellers stepping out and selling and, getting back active and, probably, in the price range under $200,000, if it's decent, those are gone very, very quickly. Even this time of year, I notice in Ashland, a lot of higher end stuff is moving. I don't know if it's the end of the season tourist traffic or what, but
well, it's really changed because today, I mean, we go on the Thursday tour in Ashland, the agent tour, and sometimes there's like 17, 20 on those things, and today there was 3. And it's really just taken a drop off, of new things coming on at the moment. But then that's just normal part of the deal.
Yeah, I mean, usually we do have somewhat of a seasonal slowdown as far as people don't want necessarily list, their houses during the Christmas or Thanksgiving holidays. But one thing that I've noticed is this time of year when you have a buyer out there, they're usually serious. So now, I'd recommend to sellers not to take their property off the market during the holidays because a lot of times there's people who really need to buy in town right now and or they've sold their place, need to find another place, and don't miss that opportunity.
And a lot of them move, their jobs will move them here or opportunities will bring them here, and that's often not dictated by what time of the year or what holiday it is. It's when that circumstance becomes available.
Yeah, another thing, I just read an article this morning that, there's a lot of buyers, I think, that are still kind of on the fence. I don't know what they're thinking exactly because...
Maybe they're going to wait for it to change some way, right?
Yeah, well, and things that we kind of know are going to change is that we are going to see prices continue to probably rise, although not at the levels we saw previously when we, had the bubble in 2005, 2006. But definitely we'll see some, normalized.
You think that's going to come in different pockets in the valley? It's not going to be uniform.
No,
price rises.
It never is. It never is uniform in the valley. I mean, Ashland always has been the highest priced marketplace. Then maybe Jacksonville, certain pockets of rural. Then East Medford, would be next. Southwest Medford, Phoenix Talent, Eagle Point. That's a popular area too for many people.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So definitely the price appreciation does change per area, depending on desirability.
Frank Manny, what's going on at Tycor? I mean, we just closed some stuff there, and busy. I mean, tell me what the business wise is
all
going
our
there.
escrow officers are very busy right now. And back on what Barbara was talking about before, we are seeing a lot, more activity right now, and I think from what I've read too. We're seeing some of the confidence come back from people stepping out a little bit, and I agree with you too. And I just read just pulled the whole series of articles about the holiday season and why this is probably the best time of the year actually to list your property because there's fewer listings, and people exactly. People just kind of go, well, no, I don't want to sell it, I want to move at Christmas, but probably now is a good time to sell, and interest rates are going to continue to stay low. I think the resale market's will continue to grow. I mean, we definitely have we're looking at some shortages on the new construction side.
Really?
Yes, and
even though we're putting up how many new constructions? There was like 75 in the last reporting period. I mean, that's a lot.
That's a lot, and there's people moving here and people moving into new houses. And on the last show, we talked about getting businesses here, and as we start getting businesses here, and we start seeing people move to the valley because of new businesses, getting new subdivisions going, and plats recorded, and the approval process it takes a very long time right now, and that's going to be an issue. And of course, when you look at the supply and demand factor and that, all that's going to do, it's going to raise prices. We know that's going to happen.
Well, speaking of raising prices, I have to say one of the, I hope, well, Brad Bennington got right on this, the CEO of the home builders, when the Medford fire chief, proposing that Medford in new construction, you have to put sprinklers in your home. And I just, I mean, that's not where the problem is in the new construction. New construction is so good today with all the bells, whistles,
fire-resistant
green materials, all the kinds of things that are used, that would probably be the last place you probably need to have require a fire extinguisher put in new construction. It just doesn't make any sense to me. The problem is in old houses where, they're dangerous to live in. And I'm telling you, people who live in an older house, sometimes you need to take a look at that wiring again in there because I'm telling you,
absolutely right.
I just went through one and we had to get a licensed electrician, and I can't believe I wouldn't have lived in. I don't think I would have lived in that. Well, I wouldn't have moved in the house until that work was done because it was unsafe, kind of things like that. Anyway, but that's just an unfair cost added to.
And when I read that, I read it through my realtor eyes. I'm thinking the system development charges. I'm thinking all the other challenges that Brad has brought forth that are really keeping those margins really tight, and those margins are what fuels the next round of construction. It keeps those guys in business, keeps them moving forward. Yeah. So here's, per home, it was a pretty significant cost. And if you're doing a subdivision's worth of homes, it would add up pretty fast. And just another layer of, required
bureaucracy because we think it's a good idea.
It's a good idea, but is it really practical and is it cost effective?
The home builders are building
the big picture.
The home builders are building a house right now in Eagle Point. Correct?
That's correct.
And Brad Bennington sat in here and told us the systems development charges to build that house were $16,000.
That is correct.
Wow.
I fell over. I think that's a sad line.
And that's residential. I mean,
that's
you get into commercial projects.
Wow.
I understand there was one building that was built here, and this was years ago, back in the 90s. The cost just to put the water meter in was like $90,000. It was just
water meter.
It was just ridiculous.
That's business friendly.
Yeah.
I wonder why those businesses are going to Bend and Spokane.
And if I read this article correctly, and I'm going to make that statement, back when Home Depot did their project in Grants Pass, they were looking at SDC charges in the millions of dollars. I mean, it was like $4.2 million, and they walked away from the project, came back to the table, and renegotiated that at like $3.5 million for streets and traffic lights and. It was just major infrastructure changes, but it runs the costs up, and somebody's going to pay for that at some point in time. That cost will just get passed down to the consumer.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Well, when you're in California and there's so much business activities, because the cities also get sales tax revenue, so there's an encouragement and an incentive to work with the business community to increase more, to get more, because they get more. We don't have any of that here. I mean, we have no.
We will next year. We're going to have the pot tax.
Well, the pot. it's going to be another topic of another really good show soon. It's going to be
Don't deviate.
Yeah.
Barbara. Yeah,
The phones are going to start ringing. All kinds. That's going to break loose.
Barbara Brown, call her right now. She'll be happy to take your questions on that. But it is. I'll tell you one thing: the pot issue is a big issue, marijuana issue, especially if you live next door.
It is.
Or where should something like this be?
Mm-hmm.
And you know, these are all issues that are going to really transform, I think, a great deal of our state, isn't it? Not just the valley, all over.
It's going to be the issue of the proximity of the commercial growing operations to neighborhoods. And
It's already a
schools
problem. I mean, you take people.
It's an
I was showing
difference.
property in the late summer, early fall, and we were out looking at rural, and they would get there before me and say, "No, this one's going to work. There's a pot growing operation there,
They
and
know.
there."
Well, you can see them. You can find it. It
Yeah.
does affect the price of real estate
does.
around you. That's for sure. Hey, the Real Estate Show. We're with Barbara Brown, the principal broker at REMAX Ideal Broker, and Frank Mania from Tycor Title. Pete and Joe, the real estate guys. We're going to take a break. Don't forget, this show repeats at 9 o'clock on Sunday morning, and all of our shows are available at realestateshoworegon.com. We're coming right back. The Real Estate Show rolls on here on KMED, AM and FM this weekend, November 22nd and 23rd. Pete and Joe, the real estate guys, with you. Don't forget, this show repeats 9 o'clock on Sunday morning. You can also visit our shows at youtube.com/Real Estate Show Oregon. All of our shows are there. You can go check them out. There's some good ones, actually. We got the county assessor is on there. You guys were on with Mark Van Hawley, that was his name, from
and Chris Dubois from
So
Bank
Ready.
of Cascade.
There's some good shows there, so check them out at youtube.com.
No charge for that either. You could
Real Estate Show
go
Oregon.
hang out all day, listen to shows, and it's free.
Well, today we're with Barbara Brown. She is the principal broker at REMAX Ideal Broker, and Frank Mania from Tycor Title have joined us here in the house, and they're talking about market, all sorts of interesting topics. Barbara brought up the pending marijuana rules that are going to be made. I would just tell you that they're really interesting, and at the beginning of a whole new business. What would you call it, Frank? I mean, what are you going to call it? I mean, it's legal now. I mean, we can actually talk about it in microphones in the public because it's going to be legal, instead of like always feeling you're behind the. I shouldn't be talking about marijuana
And that
like
was
this.
a pretty big issue in our industry, just with the medical marijuana and the growers in the neighborhood.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
what does the business community think about this? I'm curious as to what you hear.
I haven't heard anything other. There's a lot of people that are really excited about it. About what's going on. And how that's going to impact real estate and businesses, and where we're going to locate and how many of these centers we're going to locate. I don't know, and how we're going to regulate it or not regulate it. Or from what I understand, there are some limitations on how much you can sell and how much you can carry. And I don't know. Really don't know that much about it.
Those are all going to be done. But the thing is that voters have said that tax and regulate this rather than what we have done in the past. I mean, that's really what the bottom line comes to be.
That's right.
And so we'll see how it goes. It's going to have an effect, though, on homes and in businesses, and it's going to create a whole new line of business. I mean, it's really
whether the big stores like the Home Depots are going to have spring sales on marijuana plants.
No, they're not going to do that. No, that's not going to happen. I just will tell
Not a bad idea if they're listening. But the legal way to do that.
Frank, that's not going to happen. I just want you to know. No.
I thought it was a tomato plant.
Well, just see what you listen. This when you talk about this doesn't. That's interesting, isn't it? Well, anyway, we'll see what happens with it. Who knows? But stay tuned, because it's an ongoing, fluid situation, you might say.
Right.
Besides that, Barbara, what else do you see going on in the market right now that in winter here, and that I agree with you that I think it's a good time actually to list and to sell, because you're right. More serious buyers. You're not going to be out in the winter looking, unless you're pretty serious right now. You're not going to be the hold the open house and here come all the neighbors come in to see it. So it's actually, you're right about that.
Well, the economists are predicting that interest is probably going to rise in the spring. So that's another good reason to think about buying at this point, and even selling, because it keeps your property more affordable the lower the interest rates are.
Or refinancing even.
Or refinancing,
Yeah.
that's true. So, that's a good reason to be thinking about moving in the market. Prices are probably just going to continue to move up. So if you're a buyer sitting there waiting, and you can rent for the same amount that you can buy, what are you waiting for?
We're not going to say that for much longer, probably.
Yeah, and
a threshold.
if you're out there in the rental market is really tough in our area.
It is tough. Oh, boy.
And to find something decent for a reasonable price is getting harder and harder to do. So why not own your own place where you can make your own improvements? You don't have to, answer to what a landlord wants you to do or not do. And so, it's a way to build equity, as in your life. I call it a forced savings account. Every month you make that mortgage payment. It's and if appreciation stays steady, you're building equity. And if it's not your dream home to start with, but it's certainly maybe, and you can have a 5-year plan and move up, to that nicer home. So it's that's why I'm saying that these are all possibilities now that we've kind of come out of the real depths of things and moving to a more normal market. Now, I sold houses a few years ago to people who capitalized on the really lower prices. And, if you're out there listening, it's probably not a bad time to think about selling and moving up, because you've done
you made some really good
you made good money.
Years ago.
If you bought your 3.2 for $130,000 a few years ago, that's worth probably $180,000, depending on where it is. And
you paid it down a little bit and got that equity.
I hadn't thought of that, actually, because there were a lot of people. Because remember, back 5.5 years ago when we started, almost 6 years ago when we started our show, almost 85% of the homes were either short sales or foreclosed properties. Then that's reversed. You're right. Some people got some really, really good deals out of that.
And we had the
now that the prices are up, right? The value's up. You've made some money.
That was back when we had the $8,000 incentive from the IRS. That during that period where a lot of people really took advantage of the bargains that were out there, the affordability and the opportunity that was there to become a homeowner, and now they're starting to climb that ladder and seeing the wisdom of that decision and that commitment.
Yeah, that's a good point, because there were a lot of good, low prices.
Got some USDA loans, that were 100% loans. There were a lot of ways that got people in at a really good time there, and those folks are doing really well. That's what it's about.
Well, the distressing news would be that if interest rates do rise in the spring, that would really change probably the market if they start going up the other way on a consistent basis. Thank goodness they haven't, and I hope they won't. But as you say, Barbie, you got to be prepared for that, because that's certainly a possibility. So now, Anyway, we'll see what happens with that. I'm not sure where that's going to go. Now, Frank, you go over around to like offices and you visit with like Barbara and the staff and that kind of thing with good information on different stuff, right? I mean, you kind of like the things. What's the latest that you've been bringing?
Stuff. I know stuff.
Frank is a stuff knower.
He hears things.
Some of it I tune out, but I hear a lot of things. But one of the things that I try to keep up with the industry nationally and locally, and there's a lot of guidelines. There's some new guidelines out there, and so some theories and thinking about first-time home buyers and buying a home. And one of the rules that I read here not too long ago is if you're thinking about buying real estate, even for a first-time home buyer, is to whatever you've been qualified for on the lending side, subtract 20% from that amount, and at that point, then put 20% down on whatever you're looking at. So you've got basically a 40% cushion. So as we move through real estate corrections, I've been in my business now it'll be 37 years next July. We've been through a lot of corrections. This is probably the longest correction cycle that I've seen. But you need to prepare for that. And we had a lot of people come into homes at 100% financing. And of course, when the foreclosures hit and all the inventory hit and started driving prices down, there was no equity cushion there. So there a lot of people obviously found themselves in financial trouble. So there are ways to overcome that. The difficulty, though, for the first-time home buyer trying to save money at this point in time to get into a new home, wages are a problem right now. There hasn't been, even if you've been on a job for a year or two, raises have not come down the line like we normally see. If you're just coming out of school here not too long ago, one of the big issues now for college graduates is the student loans, and that's roadblocking and preventing a lot of people from getting into new homes right now.
The student loans, you those don't disappear, do they?
No, they
do
don't.
not.
No, you get a great education, but you have to go out and start at the bottom of your industry and then on the bottom rung for the most part, like we all do, and boy, that you've got that student debt, and it's the one thing that takes your debt income ratio and just throws it right out the window. That
Right.
can
Totally
be really
tosses it
crippling.
out.
That's why I'm really interested to see if Oregon can pull off the tuition-free college plan that they're mulling over right now. That would be something that would keep kids in our hometowns and give them the abilities maybe to come back and be homeowners and give them at least a leg up.
And what's the one thing we've learned about student loans when you're a parent? What's the one rule that we do,
Don't
Joe?
co-sign.
Barbara knew that. I didn't even have to prompt you.
only I didn't listen to my own advice. I have 2 children in their late 20s, early 30s who
Well.
have quite a bit of student loan.
Yeah, well,
and so does mom.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, don't co-sign a student loan.
Yes.
Let me tell you as a parent. That from the I'm with you on that one. Believe me, I know what that's like. But don't do that. But if you're smart and you can do it, it's a great thing. And boy, students need it. I mean, the cost of everything, as you know, continue to go up. Hey, the Real Estate Show continues here on KMED. Gosh, we've got a show today. We're with Barbara Brown, principal broker at REMAX Ideal Brokers, and Frank Mania from Tycor Title. Pete and Joe, the real estate guys, we're going to continue on here. This show repeats at 9 o'clock on Sunday mornings right here on KMED. We're coming right back after this. Real Estate Show continues here on KMED this weekend, November 22 and 23 before Thanksgiving. Hope your Thanksgiving week is going to be full of joy for you. Please drive safely wherever you travels may take you as well. Gas prices at least are down. That's a good thing, isn't it, Joe, this weekend? Yeah, down a lot, as a matter of fact. I don't know how that is.
I saw
Tell me.
a two in front of the gas
Yeah,
price.
I know.
I was just thought I'd gone in a time machine and landed back where I don't want to ever go.
I'm
but
saving
barely survived.
$15 a tank now.
Wow.
That's-
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah.
What $15 a tank? My goodness, what do you drive around? That's a lot.
I just have a sedan, Hyundai Sonata.
Okay.
How about you, Dodge Ram 250?
I might be saving more money than I even
think you
thought.
will.
I have to look at this next time because I refuse to look at the tabs. I just couldn't
That's
even look at
been
it.
my
I
practice
just-
for
I
years
can't
now.
look
I
at it.
don't even want to see.
That'll
Throw
help
the
you pay your
receipt in the
student
back
loans.
seat. Yeah.
That's right. Funny how that works, isn't it? Anyway, we're with Barbara Brown. She's a principal broker, REMAX Ideal Brokers. Worked with Bob and with Joe and Frank Mania from Tycor Title. Next week, we'll update you on mortgage interest rates with Guy Giles and Summit Funding. That'll be next weekend here on the Real Estate Show. Well, the end of November, December, what do you think? What's going to happen next? There I go.
New business alert.
Yeah?
Yeah, we got some new businesses coming. If you've been up Barnett Road, there's a Shell station that kind of disappeared right across from the Chevron station there, and I understand there's a Del Taco restaurant that's going in that corner.
Yeah, I was
Well, that's
I was privy to the site plan and architectural commission action on that a couple weeks ago.
See, so I'm not
knew that
lying.
was coming.
Yeah,
Yeah, Frank's right.
I didn't
That's
make
good.
that up.
should we count franchises as part of that? I guess we have to.
Yeah,
Don't
we
we?
have
I mean,
to.
they do jobs, but not.
It's a second one.
Yeah.
Okay, and there's an In-N-Out Burger that's getting really serious about.
Yeah, people are excited
a
about that.
location here. It's going to be somewhere around the mall area.
I last stood in line 9 years ago in Reading because we had to stop there on the way out back to Medford.
I've never eaten it, but I hear
the
really,
line
really
went
good
out the
things.
door.
That's what I
It's
understand.
like, really? Is the hamburger that good? We'll find out.
If you're an old timer in Medford, the place you went years ago was Kim's. I
Oh,
mean,
yeah,
that
and
was, wasn't that? I mean,
Oh,
look
yeah.
at that. I mean, it's depends. Tastes change over time, don't they? That's for
it's
sure.
not there anymore, though, is it?
I think they're tearing
The
it
sign-
down.
the
thought I
sign-
heard
down.
Yeah.
The sign's gone now.
Yeah.
So,
I
yeah,
heard
that's
the
all.
demolition was
Oh,
starting in that
See, those are
building.
old landmarks that just get wiped away, don't they? Over
Yes.
time.
We ate there after all our Falcon
Yeah,
games.
after games.
Yeah, it was
Ballpark
always a good
next
late
door.
night
Yeah,
spot.
awesome.
Okay, back to real estate again here, Barbara. What here the next month or so? What do you see is going to happen? You think going to continue on? You think normal market? You say it's the first time we've seen a normal market, Joe, since we've been
Barbara's
brokers
just
now
trying
for
to
8
get to meet
years.
all the nice people, Pete. She's going to be busy through the holidays. She'll probably get to Christmas like,
Yeah. Well, we'll see. I mean, November's board in our office is looking pretty good. Quite a few sales up. So things are still moving. Definitely.
And we should say thank you to Barbara, too, because she just completed her second term as our Rogue Valley Association of Realtors president on November 11th. And I was almost thinking at the start of the show, do we have the president on the show? But I had just I
just missed me.
seen that you just passed it. So thank you again for your second round of service there,
Thank
amongst
you.
the other things that you do.
What was the big thing you did during the year?
What did we work on? Oh, we have a fantastic staff at the Rogue Valley Association of Realtors and Southern Oregon Multiple Listing. And we have basically the board make sure that we continue to do the good work that we're supposed to be doing, providing services and benefits to our members. So I didn't bring a list of all the things we did last year. Sorry.
Well, the thing is, this year they have a legislative year coming up, and we know that.
Yes.
I know that's there.
We
and
will
that's
be
gonna
working
a
on
big
that.
thing,
That primarily gets done at the state level, as far as they work closely with the legislature up there, and inform us of bills that they're going to support or not support, and then that filters down to the local associations as far as asking for support with that. So we'll get an update on that next April. We have what's called a Realtor Day at the Capitol, where we try to bring as many realtors up there on one day, and we meet with our local senators and representatives up there, and that's always a good experience. I've been privileged to be able to go to Washington, D.C. and meet with Senators Wyden and Merkley and Greg Walden over the.
I'd love to do that someday.
Yeah.
That'd be fascinating.
And it is fascinating. One thing that's looming that I hope happens before the end of December, legislative wise, and the national level, is that Congress has failed to extend the Mortgage Debt Relief Act,
right?
Which affects people who, especially people doing short sales,
Yeah.
and so we have a call to action right now amongst realtors to contact our senators, representatives to get that done before the end of the year.
And what that is that, remember, the difference of what you owe versus what is paid for the property. That's what you're talking about, that difference.
That can be a taxable event.
There hasn't been a suit against that, but if it doesn't get renewed, then the possibility is going to happen.
The possibility is there. Well, although a lot of people who are approved for short sales are typically in trouble financially anyway, and as far as IRS goes, can show insolvency typically, but that doesn't apply to everybody. But we're hoping that gets through in this next month and is retroactive for this year.
We should congratulate Barbara for no scandals or failed website launches during her tenure as president.
There we go. That's right.
That says a lot.
And
It was a year well run.
and one of the things we've learned is you better be careful when the legislature meets, because they look at real estate and all sorts of real estate transactions as an easy way to get money.
That's right.
And I think that's, for consumers, is something that that's what the boards do and the kinds of things that do, because I'll tell you, they're not searching for money, as you know, and real estate just seems like an easy target.
And
they can't put a transfer tax on the sale of real estate, but they can add fees, et cetera, which they can do.
Now we need sprinklers in all the new homes in Medford, which
that's
is
another topic we got to
I'm
get the fire chief.
Well, I'm going to build my first ones in Central Point. You're killing my margins.
There you go. Well, new construction is up. So I guess the moral of the story today, here before Thanksgiving, is that things are selling, things are moving, prices are
affordability is pretty good, but it's going to be marginalized as we go forward.
Yeah. The title companies are busy.
We're busy.
Frank is happy.
Yeah.
Some new businesses coming in.
New commercial business.
Commercial business.
So we're gonna put the end of 2014 on a pretty good note on our show, Joe. After all these 5 years of this, and this seems like
Barbara's promised us a normal real estate market, whatever that is. But in 7 years, I've never seen that animal transpire.
Barbara's brought stability.
That's right. There you go.
I think that's all we got to know today.
Yeah.
Thanks for being. Seeing you
Great
guys
job,
soon.
you guys.
All right?
Okay,
That'll
thank
do it
you.
for the
Happy
real estate
Thanksgiving to you guys.
show.
Yes,
everyone,
happy
yeah.
Thanksgiving.
That'll do it for the real estate show this week. Have a great week, everybody. Now we're back next weekend right here on KMED. Hope you'll join us at 11 o'clock on Saturday, 9 o'clock on Sunday. God bless everybody.
Thank you for listening to the Original Real Estate Show with Pete Belcastro and Joe Brett, the Real Estate Guys. For advice, guidance, or counsel on any of our topics, or to watch a replay of today's show, visit our website at realestateshoworegon.com. This show is sponsored by REMAX, Ideal Brokers of Southern Oregon, Tycor Title, All Cities Property Management, and the Jackson Soil and Water Conservation District. We'll continue our weekly quest to enhance the value of your property and to make you a smart real estate consumer when we gather every Saturday and Sunday on KMED for the one and only original real estate show.